Alrighty, welcome back to another little review on my little channel here I have on YouTube. So today's episode that I'm going to be reviewing is Season 5, Episode 14 of The Walking Dead. So as you should know, this is going to be the whole episode. There's going to be spoilers, so whatever, if you don't want to watch, you don't have to, you can leave right now. But anyways, let's get right into the episode. The episode starts out with Gabe, actually. He's in his new church. I guess it's just a garage in Alexandria. And he's just looking through his Bible. Of course, he's just looking through it. There's a rip page. Then he starts ripping out all the pages. I thought it was the last chapter, which was... I'm not a really big Bible person. I never really read the whole thing, but it's like the very end where Judgment Day or something like that happened. I thought it was just that, but he took out, like, pretty much every single page of the book, but, like, the first chapter or two. But anyways... he does that, then we see Daryl leaving because he actually has a job now. He's the person who recruits new people to come into their camp. So we see him leave, of course, pretty much saying, where's Daryl in this episode? Maybe fans are asking. So he's off. Then we get to Noah talking to Reg. It's Donna's husband, just so you know. And they're pretty much talking about how Noah wants to be the architect or the person who builds up the wall and makes it better. Of course, Reg is like, here you go, here's a book. You should write down all your stuff that you're going to be doing in this community because it's going to be really, really good that you're good that you're doing it. So they talk. Then we go to the new supply runners. It's like Tara, Glenn, Noah. Eugene is actually in this one. He's there just because of the new thing that they need. It's like the solar panels. They need this one box to probably hook up to the houses, of course. So Eugene's the smart one. He knows what he's looking for, so he's on with the group. Then it's Aiden and Nicholas. I'm trying to get names right, so... yeah, they go off. Then we see Jesse and Rick talk. There's a broken owl. Rick's like, okay, I'll find the guy who broke it. Then, of course, we go back to the runners. The runners get to the warehouse that they're looking for. Glenn and Noah look around. The whole front of the warehouse is full of walkers. And then the runners go inside. They look around, of course. Then there's this wall or fenced off area where there's walkers. And, you know, nothing's going to ever happen. Then Eugene finds the thing that they're looking for. It's the boxes for the solar panels. I'm pretty sure I didn't really fully understand what they were looking for, but I think it was that. Then the new guy, which is Aiden, shoots army zombies all dressed up in the army, and he shoots a frag on the zombie. It blows back everyone, and Aiden actually gets caught up in rebar, it looks like, popping out of his shoulder, then gut. They think that he's dead, so they run off, pretty much look for everybody. And we see that Tara's on the ground, and yeah, that was pretty much it for that little bit. Then we go to Carol and Sam. Of course, as the last episode, Sam is the person who wants the cookies, so pretty much Carol is blackmailing Sam to keep his mouth shut, and I'll give you cookies. So, they talk for a bit. Then we go back to the runners. The runner group is trying to save Aiden because he's still alive. He's actually talking to them. Of course, they try to save him. They run over to him and everything like that. Then we go to Abraham. Abraham's part of the new wall group. I'm just going to call them groups just so I get to know each other and everything like that. But we get to see him in the new wall group. Of course, they're taking panels and making the walls, expanding the areas. And, of course, walkers come. What a big surprise in The Walking Dead. But walkers come, and pretty much one guy shoots a hydraulic press, a piston, that brings down the bucket, and a girl falls off. Abraham's like, I'm not going to let this person die, and the whole other group leaves, pretty much, and just looks over the truck, seeing what Abraham's doing. And, of course, Abraham saves the girl, and keeps the walkers at bay. Then we go back to Rick. Rick's talking to Pete, which is Jesse's husband. and just we should be friends, pretty much Pete's saying, and patting Rick on the back and everything like that, showing that there is tension and all that between those two characters. Eugene is telling Tara, because Tara is now in a back room with Eugene, saying, "You're going to survive this. I'm going to make sure. And, your people are wrong. I can do things." We see Glenn, of course, gets to Aiden, and they try to get him off of it, but walkers, of course, swarm the area because the fenced-off area with the walkers inside the building has now broken because of a frag grenade like 30 feet away, but I don't know how that really works. But anyways, of course, the walkers start coming around, and Nicholas, the guy who, his other new guy for the runners, of course, for everybody who knows this, he runs off. He's like being a big, I don't want to really say this, but he's just really, I don't know, a real wimp, I should say. And he runs off. And then we see Aiden dies from the walkers because, of course, they had to get 3 or 4 people to pull him off, but they didn't have that manpower, so he died from Nicholas not helping him. Alright, so then we get to Abraham. Abraham's with the new group. Of course, all the walkers are dead and everything like that. And pretty much Abraham's talking to the new group like he's the boss. Like, you're not doing this because we're on schedule and we gotta finish this wall. So, of course, he's like the new boss now. Of course, now it's time for the big part of this episode, which was Glenn, Nicholas, and Noah. They get to a revolving door, and it's 4 parts. One's on the outside, one's on the inside, and the 2 runners, Nicholas is on one side, and Glenn and Noah's on the other. The 2 zombies, or 2 zombie forces, the one on the inside is pushing that way, and the outer ones are pushing in, and they're stuck that way. It's in a revolving door. That's the quickest way I can explain it. But anyways, they're stuck in that situation. And then we go up to the wall, the wall group leader at this point in time before Abraham gets the role of it. And he's pretty much telling Donna, like, Abraham should be the new boss. You should have seen him out there. He was more of a leader than I should ever be, or was ever. And Donna's like, okay, I'll just think of it. I have to think over this situation. And Maggie and Donna talk, of course. Then we go to Carol. Carol told Sam, if you could get chocolate, I'll show you how to make cookies. Of course, Sam gets the chocolate, and they're starting to make cookies and everything like that, and pretty much they're talking about stuff, and Sam's like, could I have a gun from you? Because I know you stole some guns. And Carol's like, what do you need a gun for? Who do you want to give a gun to? And Sam just pauses, gets afraid, and bolts out. We don't know at this point, but I think all the other reviews I did about Pete, my future telling. But anyways, of course we go back to the runners group, and Eugene actually got out of the warehouse and got into the van that they all drove in, and pretty much came up to the front of the warehouse, blasting the music, pretty much honking the horn, pretty much all the noise that he can make, and pretty much takes all the walkers from the front of the warehouse away from the revolving doors. So now it's only Nicholas on one side, Glenn and Noah on the other, and the inside zombies pushing in. Just so I can explain it. So of course that happens. Then let's see here. Then we get to the big part. I don't want to say this is a really big spoiler, so you can leave right now. But anyways, Glenn's like, I'm gonna break the glass so me and Noah can get out, and you can pretty much push your way out, Nicholas. And when he's doing this, Nicholas actually pushes the door open, so Glenn and Noah's side is inside of the building now, and Nicholas pretty much runs out, and he again abandons them, like he's a big wimp. And then Noah gets pulled inside, and Glenn gets to watch Noah die from the walkers eating him. And at that point, I was like, no, because Noah was one of my more favorite characters at this point, and now Eugene is my top favorite character right now in the show. So now we go to Nicholas. Nicholas gets to the van where Eugene is. Eugene's like, where's the others? Where's the others? And Nicholas pushes Eugene out of the van and pretty much knocks him out of it and tries to climb in. Of course, Glenn gets to the van, pretty much beats him out of the driver's seat and starts pounding on him. Of course, that's what happens. Then we go off to Carol. Carol, of course, goes over to Jesse's house and knocks on the door. Pete opens up the door, and pretty much they talk, and Carol obviously knows that there's something wrong in this family. Because, of course, in Season 1, we've seen that she was an abusive partner or husband, and she pretty much knows what's going on, pretty much, I would say. Of course, the runner group gets back because we hear Glenn's yelling, and then Gabe comes up to Dana, and pretty much tells that Rick's group is bad. He's the Satan and he's just proposing that he's the new guy, and he's really good and all this and that. He's going to destroy everything that you made. Let me see here where I'm at. I'm at the last sentence. Woohoo! Then we get to Carol talking to Rick about Pete. And what I've been saying for the past 3 episodes now, I'm going to put my laptop over here. For the past 3 episodes now, that the big conclusion, Rick, pretty much Carol says to Rick, you have to kill Pete because he's a bad person. And I'm just satisfied because I knew this was going to come, and of course Rick's going to probably try to kill Pete, but because he's the only doctor in town, and Pete wasn't teaching anybody, of course something's going to happen, and Rick's probably not going to kill Pete, or he is. Then they will have to try to find a new doctor, and that's where everything's going to happen. And there we go, that's the whole episode. I'm going to close my laptop over here. There we go. That's the whole episode. So, my thoughts on it was, it's sad. I really like Noah, and I do like that Eugene is having a bigger spotlight now. He's one of my more favorite characters since he came in because of his background and everything like that. His story and everything like that. He's a science guy. He knows how to do this. He's a MacGyver, pretty much. So, there we go. That's the whole episode. And I hope I see you next week. If I don't, I don't. So, bye.